Okay, so when and where were you born?
I was born in the Philippines when I'm 61 years old, February 23, 1955. Yes. Specifically in the southern part, Mindanao.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Of the Philippines, yes.
And did you grow up there?
I grew up there, and actually, I don't know if this is in your next question, but I grew up there. I had my studies there until the nursing program, and then came to the United States because I'm actually an American citizen. My
Okay.
mother was Filipina, but my father was American.
Oh,
Yes, my grandfather was German, who went to the Philippines, married a Filipina, and my mother, my dad was one of the offsprings. So I'm mixed. I'm a mutt, and but my heart is a Filipina because I was born and raised there, and had most of my education there until I did my advanced degrees here in the United States.
oh, okay. Do you have any brothers or sisters as well?
I have 12 brothers and sisters.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Are you the oldest, youngest?
I'm number 10 from the eldest. Yes. Because in the Philippines, it's so rare if you have few children, I guess. We are Catholic country. 80% actually. 80 to 85% are Catholics, and so we practice,
Big
no
families.
birth controls, yes, and such, yes.
Now let's see, were you mischievous growing up?
No, I was not. I was actually the good girl, according to my mom, because, I am very compliant. I'm obedient. I was quiet. Now I'm very outspoken. I was quiet, I was obedient, and from school, I passed by the church to visit, and then home. It's always home, school, church, and my homework. And so I did very well in school because, to me, my focus is my education. Yeah, I did very well in school.
So what was the worst thing you did do growing up?
The worst thing that I did was, okay, when my sisters wants to go to the movies, I don't want to go to the movie. I just want to play doll or garden. I don't want to do those things. To me, that's a waste of my time. I don't know. I just didn't feel like doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you just told them no?
I told them no, and they get very upset. So they get my other sister who loves to go to the movies. And so, I guess that's disobedience to my older sister. But, when I say no, I don't like to go. So I think that's the worst thing that I ever did. Yeah.
Okay. So you were a very good girl.
I really think so.
Yeah.
Yes. I was not perfect, but my mother said I was a good girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what's your best memory from childhood?
Oh, childhood. Staying in the farm. We have a farmhouse. We live in the city, but, during summer vacations, we go to the farm. And in that farm, there are a lot of fruit trees. And there's a river nearby. And, being with nature. And with my brothers and sisters who also love nature. So, and the second most happy moments in my life is at home with my brothers and sisters, because there's also always music. My mother played the piano. My sisters play the piano. I play a little bit, but not as good as them. And there's always, like records playing, laughter. I mean, I could say it's a very happy childhood.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes. I just, the memories, oh my, you know, when I mention about it, I feel like crying because I'm nostalgic about those times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
When did you come to the United States?
I came here right after graduation in nursing in 1977.
Did you come here by yourself?
I came with my sister because it was required because I'm an American citizen. I was actually a foreigner in the Philippines because of the citizenship. The U.S. Embassy said I have to come here after graduation to fulfill
Oh.
kind of requirement.
And then, had you ever been to the United States before?
Nope, never. That was my first time. I cried because I don't know the country, and I love the Philippines. I heard you have to do a lot of work when you come in here,
Mm-hmm.
like clean house and things like that, and I was not used to that.
Right, so you didn't have to work or clean your house or
No.
do chores in the Philippines?
My father was a very successful businessman, and so he was a very good provider. So we have helpers at home
Okay.
to do the
So this was
work.
very different.
Yeah. So I didn't like coming here.
No.
I was crying. But my father said, no, you have to go because first, the Philippines is not a stable country, especially at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so my father thinks it's best for the children to come in here and see our options.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I didn't thought about that. I just didn't want to come. But of course, now I love it. I don't think I'll ever retire there.
Oh, okay.
No.
And when you first came to the United States, where did you start?
I stayed with my sister who came before me. And they have been married here, established, have their own homes. And so I stayed with my sister until I found a job. And my three other sisters, we went in an apartment. We split the rent, 2-bedroom apartment. And so
Mhm.
that's where we stayed as
Was it
single girls
Here in California?
in Anaheim.
Anaheim, okay.
Mhm. Yes, yes.
Okay, so the program I'm in is about social justice.
Mhm.
And so was there ever a time in your life where you felt discriminated against or not treated fairly based on
Here or
ethnicity
over there?
or race?
Here?
Either, any,
Here?
both.
You know, I felt that way, unfortunately, I have to be honest. When I first started teaching here, I never felt discriminated or, treated that way unfairly. In my other jobs in nursing, I was the director of critical care services. I have quite a lot of positions in nursing. And then I came here, I started teaching, and one of the senior faculty actually treated me like, like underestimated my abilities.
Right.
And so, but I stood my grounds. And initially I didn't. I was the good girl. I was always the harmonious, positive type.
Mm-hmm.
Until, of course, it got so much. And you can only receive those kinds of treatments. I mean, say you only have like in a cup, you have your brim, and
Yes.
it can overflow.
Mm-hmm.
And so one day, I spoke up assertively, and she was like shocked. And then she treated me nicely
Mm-hmm.
for a while. And then every time it happens, I reminded her of her behavior. And it got better, but then, when a person's personality is always like that, it comes back again.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, it's her problem, not mine. But I did tell her what's in my mind.
Mm. Was that hard to do?
Initially it was.
Yes.
In fact, I cried. And I voiced it to my superiors
Mm-hmm.
about the treatment. Of course, they say, well, she's always like that. She, she even says that to us, and it's not you. It's just her personality. But to me, that's a cop out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no, you don't treat people like that.
Right, and you felt possibly it was stronger towards you?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because if there's a newer faculty who is Caucasian, she was treated better than I was.
Mm-hmm.
So I did felt that way. But that was the only time. And she's no longer here. She has retired, a few years back.
Got it.
Yeah, so I've never felt that way ever since.
Hey.
Oh, well, another colleague of mine did the same thing. About 3-4 years ago, when she transferred to our semester level, and it was very obvious. Unfortunately, even the students noticed it. And I did spoke my mind. I was more assertive than I was.
Mm-hmm.
And it got better. But then again, it's her personality. And I always say, as long as I have spoken my mind and expressed to her what are the limitations of her behavior, I'm fine. She can be like that. That's her problem. Because I'm at peace with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and I know who I am and my values. So, it's really a problem. And so, I felt better saying that to myself, that I know who I am. I know my self-worth. And she really has a problem.
Mm-hmm. So this was the second person as
The
well.
second person, and she has retired too. So, it's so much better. I mean, in life, I guess there are some personalities that, would trigger your, I don't know what it's called, your patience, your, I don't know, it's...
Sometimes it's an insecurity on their part.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would say that because, again, even the students, and there was something that happened that, the students really voiced out that it was not right what she did. And if the students say that, now that is valid.
Right.
Yeah, if they can, sense and see what's happening. Yeah.
Now, were you married? Are you
Yeah.
married?
Mm-hmm. I am a widow.
Okay.
My husband passed away 13 years ago. Is it 13?
Gosh.
In 2002.
2002.
Mm-hmm.
Was he Caucasian or Filipino?
Filipino. Yes.
Where did you two meet?
Here in Anaheim.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
did you want to marry a Filipino?
Yes.
Or, okay.
I mean, it's always like, it's a comfort zone.
Right.
Knowing that somebody will eat the same food as you do, have likes like you do, and have the same values like you do.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm open to, and there were others who courted me, but, I guess he was the love of my life.
Was he from the same area in the Philippines?
No, he was from the north.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I was from South, Mindanao, and he was from Luzon.
Oh, okay, Luzon.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I know there's hundreds and hundreds of dialects
Yes.
in the Philippines. Did you speak the same dialect?
Well, Philippines have one national language, which is Tagalog. And that is the dialect language spoken in the north. And so, most people in the Philippines know how to speak Tagalog because that's a national language. I have my own dialect, which is Bisaya. He does not know, my late husband didn't know how to speak that, although he picked up some words.
My mother
Yeah.
is Visayan too.
Yeah. So, I was very comfortable speaking Tagalog with him. Although when we had kids, we speak English and Tagalog. Yes. And that's one regret of my life, that I didn't teach the kids more of our language.
Mm-hmm.
They just speak very few words. And again, that was a regret of mine.
Why did you not emphasize
The language?
the language more?
Because it was convenient to say it in English.
Right.
I mean, it would have been, because when they go to school, it's always English, and I would have to, I guess, explain that, okay, now, I guess, yeah, it was convenient to speak English.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back, I should have spent the time. Because now they're interested, the kids are interested with knowing the country,
Mm-hmm.
and in fact going back and talking to the people, the locals, and see how the country is being run. And it would have been nicer if they're able to speak the language.
Yes.
Yeah.
How old are your kids?
Jason is 34, Melanie 30. She's turning 31 in July. Yes.
And they're interested now in going to the
Yes.
Philippines.
My son specifically is very interested because, when my parents, when my parents were there, they had a lot of properties.
Mm-hmm.
And they passed on, so the properties are being managed by us now, the kids. And so we have a group emailing within brothers and sisters about the management of the properties. And I'm actually the secretary, and I log down everything, and I email everybody what's going on with the tenants and, and the revenues, where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told my brother, who is in charge of this technology part for the emailing, to include my son, because we have encouraged each family members to have one spokesperson from the next generation.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes. So my son, Jason, my older than my daughter, is within the loop of that communication of the family assets in the Philippines. And so he calls me every time he sees something that he doesn't understand. Like, okay, how come what's happening with the lawyer and the properties, because there are a lot of squatters. So he's very interested. So I'm so happy that he is, because when I pass on, it's going to be him.
Mhm.
Part of the family share will be his.
Right.
Yes,
And so
it will be handed
he's
down.
already learning about it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Who's been the biggest influence in your life? If there was one person.
I don't know if my mother, I believe she's, of course, I always say my mother was very spiritual.
Okay.
I mean, she is praying every day. She emphasized education. And she always says, because there's 9 girls in the family and 4 boys, she always emphasized women have to have education. Because she did not finish college. My mother didn't.
Mm-hmm.
She said, because if something happens with your husband, you can stand on your own 2 feet. She always emphasized that. So all the girls in the family finished with degrees. Some of our, couple of our men didn't. They finished some college,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't have the degree like we did, the girls. Because she was always, putting it in our mind that women have to have education. But she didn't. She was with my dad. She actually didn't have to work, because my dad can provide the family with money very well. But she always emphasized education
Mm-hmm.
and spirituality. And I would say the next thing is Mother Mary. She's biggest influence in my life. She's my role model because of my mother.
Yes.
You see, it's always that way, I guess.
The
Yeah.
connections.
The connection.
So you're very spiritual.
I am
like
very
your mother.
spiritual, yes.
Let's see. When in your life have you felt most alone?
Oh boy, I never felt that way.
That's good.
I never
Yeah.
did. Even when my husband passed away, I guess it's my faith that says God is always with me.
Mm-hmm.
I never, to be honest, and this is honest, I never felt that way. And come to think about that question, I'm blessed.
You are.
Now, again, even when my husband died, there's always family with me, and I don't feel alone.
Mm-hmm.
I feel still complete with him, with God. Yeah.
Now, were there traditions that you and your husband passed on to your kids, Filipino traditions?
Okay, traditions. It's actually praying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we do travels, like my late husband loved to do long driving during summer, and the family always have these family vacations cross country, and we always pray the rosary on our travels. And and we always tell them to respect your elders. So even my cousins, my sister says, "Boy, your children are so respectful. When they see them, they kiss the hand or hug auntie. They always have, the address is auntie, and if it is a stranger, they will say Mr. So and so. They never would address that person in a first name basis.
Mm-hmm.
And so we emphasize that in our kids, respect and spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
Those two we emphasize. Yeah.
When I was in the Philippines, my smaller nieces, they would take my hand
Yes.
and
Yes.
to their
Right.
to their forehead.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we, even as a family, my brothers and sisters, I guess my brothers and sisters also emphasize that to their kids, because when I go to my sister's house, their children also is, "Hi, auntie," and they always hug. They used to put the hand in the forehead, but it's kind of gone now. They just hug, but they always greet. They will never ignore you. Otherwise, they will hear about it. Yes, there's the discipline will come later if you do not do that to your aunties, uncles, and to your parents.
So, how many of your brothers and sisters are here in the United States as well?
Actually, there's 11. There's 2 that retired in the Philippines. Yeah, so 11, 12, 13. Yeah, 2 retired,
Mm-hmm.
but they come and go. They were here and then they go in there because they have properties there too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my brother was retired. He's the manager of the properties. He goes like every 3 months to the Philippines, every 3 to 4 months.
Cycle
Yeah.
around. So everybody's in Southern California?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, I take it back. My sister moved to Oregon
Mm-hmm.
when she married. She moved to Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So almost everybody.
Almost.
Almost everybody. Let's see. See, if you could hold on to one memory from your life forever, which memory would that be?
Ooh. One memory.
Well, 2.
Oh boy. Let's see. My wedding. Yeah. I think it's my wedding.
Did you have a big wedding?
It's not big, but it's a very happy occasion with all my brothers and sisters there, and it's just the Filipino traditional wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Which is that different than a traditional
Like
wedding here?
Yes. There is, it's a ceremony wherein you put the veil on top of the the bride's head, and the man's shoulder. The veil actually flows from the bride's head to the man's shoulder. It will be pinned, symbolizes that they're to get forever together. And then we put a cord between the two to tie them together.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's always a mass, Catholic mass. I mean, we're Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's mostly that the traditional, the meaning that, the two of you will always be together. Although, my sister has divorced and things like that. But for me, it's a forever pledge or vow.
Commitment. So
Commitment.
if you met somebody new, would you remarry or consider?
I don't think so.
No.
No. I only have one husband in my lifetime. Yes.
Did your kids go to Catholic school?
Yes. Both my kids went to Catholic school from kindergarten up to grade 8. And then they went to public high schools. I was really debating because I wanted for them to continue schooling in a Catholic high school.
Mm-hmm.
But my husband said, no, this is the real world. You need to expose them now. Because they're bigger, they have somewhat a mind of their own. They need to be exposed. You cannot shelter them anymore. Because that's what I thought. Like, I always wanted them to get a Catholic education with the Catholic beliefs and teachings. And plus, it's more monitored. And I just felt safer with them being in a Catholic school.
Mm-hmm.
So when they actually went to high school, public high school, I'm glad that my husband won in the argument, because my son actually told me the first week he was in a public high school, he said, Mom, wow, it's a big world out there with different kinds of people, diverse people. And I'm glad that he saw that. And to him, it was a challenge. He ran for president in the high school. He won. I mean, because he was very sociable to the other cultures. And I was very proud of him that he adjusted very well with that from Catholic school to the public. He adjusted very well. He has a very good personality. So did my daughter. I mean, the adjustment was very smooth. Because we talk to them every day. My husband and I, every day we eat dinner together. The four of us. Even as a child, we always eat dinner. If somebody is late, we will wait. You know, if somebody is having an overtime, we will wait until everybody's together to sit dinner. That's always our family ritual every day.
And so now, were your kids, were they mischievous? Did they get into trouble?
Never did. My kid, I swear, my kids, I'm again blessed. My children are in the honor roll. I mean, they've never been. I remember my son had a fight with somebody because somebody was trying to ridicule his sister. And he fought that kid in the park, trying to defend his sister.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, my son is very diplomatic. My daughter is diplomatic. I mean, I'm bragging, but they have great personalities. I mean, you know, my son was president of the high school, and then when he went to university, he was elected twice as the university president. He's able to reach out to other cultures. He has, I don't know. I told him he should be in politics. But no, not in politics. But he really, and even my daughter, they've never been in trouble. Oh, I take it back. My son went in kindergarten. The first report card, the teacher said, Jason seems to have ants in his pants. He is always talking to his classmates. When he got home, he was disciplined by my husband. We believe in discipline. So he was put in a corner, and we have spanking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not severe spanking, but just for him to learn.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first and the last, and you know, he was very good in school. He became valedictorian when he graduated 8th grade. And he had perfect attendance in school. So did my daughter, perfect attendance in school. They receive awards as having the perfect attendance.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So now, are they married?
They're both married,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
And
Yes.
do you have grandchildren?
I have my first one coming in August.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Are they finding out the gender?
Yes, I will have a granddaughter.
Oh,
Yes,
congratulations.
I am so excited.
And this is your daughter?
Son.
Oh, your son's wife.
Yes. They got married August of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't wait long because he's 34 and I think she's 29.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're having their first child in August. My daughter has been married for 6 years. She's into sports, like motorcycle
Okay.
with a husband, archery, mountain climbing, I mean, bike racing, with the husband. So they're into sports. So it's okay. My son also does sports like mountaineering and hiking, but
Mm-hmm.
he has scaled back somewhat because now he's going to be a father. Yeah, and so
Now, did they marry Filipinos or?
my son married a Vietnamese,
Okay.
and my daughter married Italian Caucasian,
Okay.
background.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
Yeah.
they grew up eating Filipino food, rice.
They grew up eating Filipino foods, but can you believe now as much as possible, they don't like to eat that. I'm not kidding. They are very health conscious.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to eat pork now. We used to eat a lot of pork, like roast pig and all.
Right.
No, they don't even want to eat the roast pig. They're conscious of what they eat. They eat salads. They eat lean meat. It didn't come from me. I still eat all those Filipino foods.
So the roast pig, was that at a party?
Yes, our parties always have big parties have roast pig.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
In the ground?
We order it.
Okay.
Yeah, we just buy it. Yeah, and they deliver it to our parties.
Perfect.
Yeah.
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 That's easier.
Yeah, it's easier. Yeah.
So then how long have you been here?
Since right after nursing graduation, 1977, I came here.
Oh no. At
In
at our school.
at our school. Actually, when I was the director of critical care services, when I was in a hospital type of setting, I work here part time, like 4 hours a week,
Mm-hmm.
teaching, skills lab and things like that, while I was employed, in a hospital setting. That was in 1994. I started here in 1994, part time. When my husband passed away in 2002, I wanted a more stable job. I thought, oh, maybe this is more stable here. So I applied, and in 2002, I started working full time here.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
since 2002,
Right.
that's when my husband passed away.
Pass away. Okay. Let's see. Is there anything else you want to share about? Is there a patient that you can think of that really influenced you when you were working in the hospitals?
Yes. My background's critical care. And I'll never forget one patient who wrote a poem about me. And in fact, I didn't know he did, but my supervisor said, oh, do you know that you are in our hospital bulletin? I said, you are featured. I said, why? Because a patient that I took care of in ICU was very touched by, I guess, how I took care of him, that he entitled the poem Nini, my name. And it was a very nice poem. In fact, I had it somewhere in my den now. And I was really touched with how he described me. As like the angel on earth and quick and all this. It's a compliment, and to me that was like a little crown on my head, like, oh, somebody recognized it. And I really didn't treat him differently than others. I just work hard to save his life. And I guess in the eyes of our patients, they see that commitment, the dedication. To me, it was just, a job that I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
But in the eyes of a patient, it's different. They appreciate how you talk to them, the tone of your voice, how you really care for them. And yeah, that patient, Robin, I'll never forget his name. I didn't know I only received the poem when he was already discharged, and he just, in fact, he left a frame, that poem frame, and in ICU, and somebody says, "Oh, I don't know where it is," and somebody, I don't know who has it. It was not given to me, the signed one. The one that I saw was only in the bulletin that patient submitted and talked to the COO.
Oh, so you didn't get to see or you didn't get to keep the actual.
No, because somebody in ICU said, "We don't know where it is," but he wrote me a letter saying it's in ICU with one of the nurses. And so I never know where it went, but I just knew, somebody got it somewhere or it's lost. I don't know. But at least I have the bulletin
Right.
with the poem with my name on it.
Now, growing up, did you always want to be a nurse, or was there?
No. Growing up, I actually was a pre-medicine. And my sister went to nursing school, and every time she comes home during vacations, she always brags about how nice nursing is.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, I'm going to change. I want to be a nurse too. So she influenced me. And thank God she did, because I just love being a nurse. I mean, I'm very passionate about this profession.
What about being a nurse?
It's the feeling that you hold a patient's hand without malice. It's giving of yourself unselfishly. It's forgetting about you and just think about them. It's that kind of feeling that, you can make a difference. It's I don't know, it's probably because I'm very spiritual. To say that, don't think about you, it's all about them. So I said, wow, this is such a nice profession where I can help somebody and I can hug somebody without malice and ease their pain. And when I see their eyes in pain, I feel that pain too. And I would do something about that. And I have to do something about that. It's always the helping aspect that I guess I'm a nurturer, because I love gardening too.
Mm-hmm.
I love to see something grow. And because I want to, a result that once I nurture the seed and it grows, there's something beautiful that comes out of it. And to me, that's my analogy of nursing. You take care of something, they might not live, but you did something good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe spiritually, maybe their families. You know that you've touched their lives somehow,
Now,
some way.
do you feel God brought you to teach so that you can pass on?
Oh yes, I think so. Because when I was in hospital management, my superiors always says, "Oh, can you help?" The very first time I taught was, CPR and advanced life support. They said, "Nini, I think you will be good with this. Can you help us do this? Can you work some of your time in education?" I said, "Oh, no problem." And I'll never forget my first class, Code Blue, what to do. And I poured my heart into it and made handout. And everybody that came to the class, and it became a routine class for the hospital. All my evaluations were really nice. They were like, "Oh, we really love how she teaches us. She's funny. She's, she makes us understand it so well. It's not, she knows that when we are not critical care, our background's critical care, she goes down to our level to teach us simple words that we can understand." So that encouraged me. I said, maybe I'm meant to teach, because I also taught advanced life support to the doctors and the nurses. So with that kind of feedback, it encouraged me to teach, because I said, there's probably something there if this is what I see in the evaluations,
Mm-hmm.
there's something there. So that's why I taught part-time. And then I said, I like this. And so I applied with my husband's demise twofold. I love it, plus it was a necessity. So, and I have never regretted ever since. I mean, I just love teaching. I always tell people, well, I've had so many hats in nursing in my lifetime. I've been a staff nurse, supervisor, quality analyst, other things, director. And this is my last train stop, teaching. This is where, I'm going to pour out everything. This is where I'm going to reach out to the next generation. This is my legacy. That whatever I have in my brain, my knowledge, has to be passed on. So it will live on and on. It shouldn't stay because my brain will rot when I die. So why not give it to the young folks, the young adults, so they can pass it on to the other generations. So I just love teaching. I just love it.
Is there one student that stands out in your mind? I know you've had so many.
Oh, one student. Not really. I mean, all of
So
them.
they're all, yeah.
Yeah, it's like all of them are, oh, there's one student that emailed me, it was just, her email was just so inspiring that when they say, and there's others who always say that even in my evaluations, I want to be like you. When I hear that, I said, oh, but it's just me. I'm not really that outstanding. But when they say, I want to be like you, that encouraged me to do more and, be the best of who I am to them. Those words really, not one student, but, there are a few students who say that. And to me, that's a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
I want to keep that going.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they say those lines, I want to be like you. So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh,
Let me just
you're
hit
welcome.
stop and save.